Hello! Today I'm going to do a flip through of this sketchbook. I have filled it completely. It is 160 pages of stuff in here. Started in March of 21 and I finished it on the 31st of December 22. So let's get into it, shall we? The sketchbook is a Primrosia watercolor dot grid journal, and I will link it in the description below. I'm pretty sure you can get these on Amazon, at least in Australia and the USA. I'm not too sure about other countries yet. I'll see what I can find. But I've really liked it. The paper's held up well. This thing has taken an absolute beating, and you can see by my very battered dust jacket here that I stuck over the top of the book because I was traveling around. It is actually a fabric cover and I didn't want to destroy it. So first of all, I'm actually going to remove the dust jacket because it's done its work, it's served its purpose. I really like this cat though, so I think I'm going to save this. This actually came off an old greeting card. I think it was a birthday card which I just cut up and saved, but all I've done is just taped it down a little bit with washi tape. So I'll take it off and we'll see what the book looks like underneath. Uh-oh, this may be a bad idea. Washi tape that has been stuck down for a long time, it gets really sticky and it is peeling it off. I'm still going to take the thing off. I've already decided that that's going to happen. I hate to think what the aftermath is going to look like though. Oh dear, and my lovely peacock sticker's gotten all ripped. Oh no. Well, I've done it now. I'm just going to keep going. That was a bad idea. So this is what the journal looked like when I bought it, although now mine has still gotten a bit of dirt on it. So I think I will decorate it a little bit, although I do want to preserve this lovely gold embossing here and keep the Primrosia there. The back's not looking too bad, there's just a little bit of staining down there. I'm thinking I might actually copy this cat onto here. There we go. Tape and stickers fix everything. Well, it's close enough anyway. So I've done a little sketch on the front of that cat, and I've also stuck the cat inside here, which I'll show you soon when I do the flip through, but I think I might just go over everything. I'm tossing up whether I wanted a black pen, but I might actually go pink on pink. I'll see how that goes. If it doesn't show up enough, then I will change my mind. But we'll start with the pink and see where that leads us. I just want it to be relatively subtle on the cover. I think I'm going to leave the cover like this. I've just used the pink pen, so I've drawn a very sketchy cat, added a little heart here. Not so keen with the writing, I might end up doing something with that. I've also just dated this on the spine, March 21 to December 22, and I also drew a pink heart on that yellow stain just to hide that. I think I'm going to leave it as is. Let me know in the comments if I should do anything else to this, if I should add some black paint pen, gold paint pen, or other colour. I'm always happy to hear your comments, but for now let's leave well enough alone and let's have a look through the sketchbook. This sketchbook ended up having quite a lot of pink in it. I think it was kind of inspired from the cover, and also because I had bought a pink paint pen when I was out at Dad's for some reason, and I just ended up using it at the start and finish of the sketchbook. There's the cat that I cut out and stuck in. I filmed a video when I first started the book, which I'll link at the end. This page spread I was just trying out some different colours and patterns. Then I'm doing a little bit of urban sketching, although I did end up using my photo references to finish these pictures off. It's not always convenient to sketch on location, so I usually snap a picture on my phone. The one on the right is from Valentine's Day 21, we had sweet cupcakes. Then I made a video on the Gansai Tambi small set, so that's probably in my collection somewhere. And this page spread was when I was watching the TV. Quite often I just like to randomly doodle and draw things. The dragon is a good example of that, and the birds are from reference photos that I downloaded off the net. This page spread was inspired from stickers. I pulled a couple out from the antiquarian sticker book and then just drew in the rest of it. In May of 21 we did a small road trip up to the northern part of the state, and these were some of the artworks that I did. Mostly of an evening, just sketching from photos I'd taken, and also cutting up souvenir pamphlets, and I think I bought a couple of stickers for the sole purpose of sticking them in my book. I also stuck in the ticket from the little paddle boat ride that we did. I do have a video on our little travels if you're interested in seeing where we went. This page spread is just patterns that I drew and I wanted to add colour. Then I painted a couple of pages just with watercolours and tape around the edges and doodled over the top. I really love doing those drawings. We had a lockdown, the fourth one that happened in Melbourne, and I actually thought to record that one. I was testing out a palette of colours here, the Zart Prime Colours. I've got a video on that somewhere. Oh yes, and a self-portrait of me wearing a mask from a selfie I took while we were in line for vaccinations. I'm kind of glad I kept that just as a record. It's always 1 o'clock somewhere. That was just from a reference photo. I really love this page spread. It's one of my favourites. It's so bright and happy. Then we have more scribbles and silhouette drawings. Lockdowns were so boring, so I was just trying to keep myself occupied. And I also use my sketchbook to experiment with different styles of drawings. I like that page spread. Then I saw a photo of a snake, which I just thought was really cool, and the pansies I think might be from my garden. But you can see how the sketchbook pages get steadily messier as I settle into the book and stop worrying about it having to be perfect. I was doing some tree practice here. I'm still hopeless at drawing them. These ones are using Daniel Smith Primrosia paints. I actually did do a final painting of the earthenware pots. This page spread is inspired by geodes. I just thought it would be fun to paint on some patterns, and I think there's a bit of shininess there, which is what I'm doing with the book, reflecting it in the light. And speaking of shiny, I had discovered this glitter pen in my collection, so all of those butterflies got covered. They're actually stamps, I think. And then I found a funny photo of a kookaburra, so I had to paint that too. Birds always look so funny when they're just facing you head on. Now these flowers are definitely from my garden. I really love pansies, and we planted that pot during a brief time when shops had reopened. It didn't last long because we had multiple lockdowns that year. These are some very dodgy looking flowers, but I think I did a whole video on this as well, using flowers as my inspiration on how to fill a sketchbook, so if you want to rummage through and find that one, it's there. I added more shiny onto that black and white rose, and I was experimenting with monochromatic paintings. This is still one of my favourite spreads in this sketchbook. It's so colourful. I added stickers in, and I just really like how this looks. Another shiny page. I was just experimenting with different shapes and colouring them in. It's not really meant to be anything. And then Tokyo finally had the Olympics a year after it was due, so I thought I'd record that in there. We watched quite a lot of it actually, because there was not much else to do. And here we are at the 6th lockdown. I don't know what happened to number 5. I think that was only a couple of weeks, and for some reason I didn't record it. Oh yeah, I remember this now. We'd been watching some military thing, and this is very much their motto, although it does vary between the UK and the US. I had to write that one down. On the left is a Winnie the Pooh card that I'd painted and I decided to stick in my book. A daffodil from Dad's garden because I did have to take him to the hospital a few times when he was having his heart problems. And to cheer me up, a worm farm. I even managed to inadvertently splash the surprise looking worm, which worked out really well. And of course we got tested for COVID any number of times when we were sick. This time I did not have COVID, but we were stuck in that queue for quite a long time, experimenting with paint pens here. They kind of chewed up the paper a bit, but otherwise I really like how they worked out. Then we had Christmas out at Dad's, because the lockdown had lifted, hooray, and we haven't been in one since, so that's always good. It got really hot, as it always does at this time of year, and it took me an entire year to finish the rest of this book. I was experimenting with patterns here, but I find with sketchbooks that I tend to pick them up and use them for a while, and then I'll put them down and not touch them for a few months, which is why there are large gaps in time. I go through phases of inspiration when I like to be working in a sketchbook, and then other times I just don't want to do that, and so I leave it. These are from photos that I found on Facebook, and I really like painting birds. I don't spend a lot of time on these artworks. They are meant to be more sketches, and I try not to get bogged down too much in details. I also recorded all of the Holbein artist gouache sets that I have, starting out with the summer one, which I got earlier than the others because Nick actually bought it for me for Valentine's Day, I think it was. And then I was out visiting Dad again, so I did these colourful paintings. He had so many flowers blooming at that time. It's basically a collage from different photos that I took. The sunflowers are also from Dad's. And the left page I was using up a palette of gouache, so I just put a flower sticker over the top of it. My mother-in-law was given the everlasting rose, so I drew that while I was visiting them. The hot air balloons was from a sticker, and this one I stuck tape all over the page and then painted in the different geometric shapes. That ribbon was really annoying me for some reason. I apologise for getting my hands in the way all the time. And back to the Holbein gouaches, because by now I had bought the other 3 sets, and I've done videos on all of these. I think I've got a playlist all of these sets came with a shiny paint, which was really great. So these are some of the paintings that I got from the different sets. We had autumn, winter. I love that antique gold, it's so shiny. And I was trying to come up with pictures which best represented the colour palettes that were in each set. I still think some of them are quite weird, and I really do need to make a video out of rearranging them all as to how I would have them if I chose seasonal colour palettes. But last up here is spring, and of course I had to paint macarons. I have to say, looking back, the spring palette is really bright and springy, more than what I remember. Next up we had Greek Easter and Anzac Day, so I felt inspired to do little paintings and collages for them. Don't know what these pages are. I guess I was a bit stuck for ideas, so I just started drawing shapes. And that central piece on the right hand side is actually from a piece of card that I'd drawn on and I decided to stick in the book. So that's probably where the actual rest of the pattern came from. Mushrooms from a reference photo I saw, and I drew my Excel graphite set, because why not? And over here I was going through my reference photo library, just looking at different pictures that people had taken and getting ideas. I think these ones are too. I just wanted to draw and paint, I wasn't really thinking very much. Oh yes, and this one is an optical illusion. I traced around my hands and then drew the lines so that they're bending slightly and it makes it look like it's 3D. It's actually pretty effective and this was really fun to do. I've drawn that flamingo before with marker pens, but I just decided to draw it again and use some watercolors instead. The one on the right are floral stickers, and then I've got these little Japanese stickers that inspired this little painting. I only just realised that it looks like they have faces. And then on the right I have a Posca pen design. A garden snail, which for some reason I felt like I had to actually label. And then I'd seen a YouTube video about painting blobs of colour and then drawing little pictures on them. That was really fun, and I might have to make my own video on this, because that idea has unlimited potential. And for some reason I was in the mood to draw cutesy animals, so I found reference pictures and drew them. I don't know what happened to that kitten, he's a bit squished. A couple of little paintings for Halloween. I think the left one was gouache, so it looks a bit matte, but the right one I added some sparkly paint to it. And then I added a lot of gold paint to these brightly coloured flowers. I really like this page spread too, it's so happy. And this is one of my absolute favourites. Using paint pens, I was thinking of summer Christmas here and winter Christmas in the northern hemisphere, and that's what inspired these. I just really like the designs, I think they turned out really well. Then I was inspired once again by my garden, which was blooming during spring, and even by our rubbish bins, which were reflecting colours from the sun, making them look quite pretty. The right hand side is from a shop sign that we saw, and I just took a picture of it because I thought it was really neat, and then I added some stickers. Then I've got some Christmassy paintings because I really wanted to finish this sketchbook, and I was in a bit of a gold phase here, so everything got covered in gold. I showed these in my haul. That's the new Sennelier iridescent watercolours. And then I had a huge disaster on the right hand side here. Thankfully I'd put some plastic in between here so that my Christmas tree cupcake turned out okay and isn't damaged, but my swatches on the right hand side are destroyed. Thanks to this page, I'd used these watercolour inks, but it turns out that they're dye and they leak through paper like nobody's business. What a horrendous mess. It destroyed the other side too, so I've just stuck my iridescent swatches on black paper in here and covered the rest with paint pen to hide all of that. And then I used the paint pens to finish up the page. I'd stuck a sticker on the back here and used that pink paint pen to finish colouring the rest. I've got some spare pages that I didn't use in there, and that's the whole sketchbook done and dusted. I'm so happy I finished it. It took ages, but I got there, and even if every page isn't a masterpiece, it's still really satisfying to finish an entire book. I really enjoyed this sketchbook. Everything was going so well until I ruined those last pages. This is all your fault. Ah, gosh, I'm probably going to stick something over the top. Not sure what yet, but I thought I'd show you it. Ah, it's so bad. I'm so happy this one didn't get damaged, though. So, as for the paper, I think it holds up really well to pretty much all media that I threw at it. These are some watercolour pages, and you can see there's a bit of buckling, but it's not too bad. I mean, you expect that in a sketchbook. And the colours disperse relatively well also, so that's pretty good. I would definitely get another one of these at some point. I really like these books, so I recommend them. I will link them in the description below if you want to get one for yourself. Much better than a regular dot notebook, that's for sure, because at least you can put wet media on and it's a much thicker paper. So I hope you enjoyed this video and looking through my rather messy sketchbook. It's just got everything in it. That's how I usually end up with sketchbooks. I don't tend to have themes for them. I do have a few others I'm working in. They're nowhere near finished. I might try and finish a few of them this year though. I'm not sure if I'm going to start a new one just yet. I might try and finish a couple of other ones which I started last year, and I did a video on them. They were 2 small toned watercolor paper journals. I think I might get back into those and see if I can finish them up. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and don't forget to click the subscribe button for more videos coming your way. In the meantime, if you want to check out these videos, I've got a couple up here which you could see this book when it was brand new, and probably me working in it at some point. So I hope you're all having a great day out there. I'll see you all again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later. Bye!